Hello everyone, welcome to Beginner's Guide. In today's tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to create this basic calculator using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Let me demonstrate you what we can do with this calculator. Then I will explain you how I have created this calculator. So let's say I wanted to perform some addition operations. So let's say I wanted to add 5 with another 5. If you wanted to see the result, the equal symbol. Let's say you wanted to perform some multiplication times, let's say 2. 10 times 2 is 20. Let's say you wanted to perform some subtraction. So minus, let's say 6. The result would be 14. And let's say you wanted to perform some division operation divided by, let's say 7. When you click, the answer is 2. Everything is working as expected. So if you wanted to clear this input field, you can use this clear button. When you click this one, the input will be cleared. When you click the 0, the input will be filled with 0. By default, there is a 0. So for example, let's say you wanted to add 1 with 0. So 1 plus, you can click on this 0. So when you add, the result would be 1. So this is exactly what we are going to create in this particular tutorial using JavaScript, a simple JavaScript. I'm going to explain you everything that you need to know step by step. Before that, just a reminder, if you have not subscribed the channel yet, please do subscribe. And if you like this video, do not forget to hit the like button. And if you have any questions, by the way, you are free to ask me through comment section. I'm expecting more questions from you, so be ready. Now, let's get started. What I'm going to do, I'm going to open a folder. At this moment, there is nothing inside, isn't it so? So I'm going to open this empty folder with my VS Code text editor. So for that, in the URL, I'm going to say cmd. Here I'm going to say code space dot, hit enter, so that this empty folder will be opened using my VS Code text editor. So inside I'm going to create my index.html file, and then I'm going to create my style sheet. I'm going to name this one as a style.css. Let me create a basic boilerplate. So for that, I'm going to say doc, hit enter. It will create you the basic boilerplate of HTML file. So here in the title, I'm just going to say JS calculator. Now the next step, I need to include the CSS. So I'm going to use link and then select this CSS. By default, the name is style.css. If your file name is style.css, then you have no problem. In case if this file name is different, you have to explicitly specify the file name. I hope everything is clear. Now let me create a div with a class name called container. So within this div class, I'm going to create another div, let's say with a class name called, let's say I'm going to call this one as a box. So within this box, I need to create this particular design that I have them here. I'm sure that you can able to see there is an input box here, followed by I have buttons. So in the first row, I have 7, 8, 9 and plus. In the second row, I have these buttons. Third row, these buttons, and the fourth row, I have this button. Initially, I'm going to design this button using my HTML. Then we will use style sheet to style this particular document. So for that, I'm going to my HTML document. First, I need to bring in the input box, right? So I'm going to consider the whole thing as a form. As a result, I'm going to create a form tag. And then this one is not going to have any action field, but I'm going to have a name for this form. So the name, I'm going to name them as, let's say, since we are dealing with calculator, so let me call this one as a calculator. Okay, within this form, I'm going to bring in all those design aspects. So first one is an input box. So I'm going to use input. The type would be text, right? Then from there, by default, I wanted to bring in, let me clear this one. By default, there is a 0 in there, right? So for that, I'm going to use the inbuilt HTML property name called placeholder, and then I'm going to set it to 0. That's it. And then what I wanted to do, I just wanted to give a name for this particular input field. I'm going to give an ID and then I'm going to give an ID name as, let's say, display. Okay, and then I'm going to use a CSS property name as read only. So let me save and let me open this one with my browser so that you will see what exactly in there. So nothing much. There is a 0 by default and there is an input box. That's it, right? Now we need to work on the buttons part. I hope you can able to see the actual design. We have 4 rows. Each rows we have 4 buttons, right? So let's start with this first row, 7, 8, 9 together with a plus. For that, I'm going to make use of the input type, but here the type will be button because I'm going to create a button. Okay, so this button, I wanted to pass the value. So the value for this particular button is 7, isn't it so? So I'm going to pass 7 as a value. I hope it's making sense. Let me save and go and refresh there so that you will see the 7 in there. So I'm going to create 8, 9 together with what? The plus symbol. So let me just duplicate this part. So here the value would be 8. The next one, the value would be 9. The next one, the value was plus. Isn't it so? So let me save, go there and refresh. Yeah. Then I need to work on the second row, third row and fourth row. Let me do the same procedure. Let's save and let's go there and refresh our browser to see whether we have managed to create all the buttons. I'm sure that everything is there, right? So this is what we are getting. So if you look at the actual design, each of these things are in a different row. So to bring them to the next line, I hope you know the HTML property, we can use the break. So after the input box, let's include the break. Same after the plus, include the break. After the minus, include the break so that we can have them in a next row. So here again, another break. So let me save, go there and refresh. It's perfect, right? So now we need to align these things into the center of our page, and then we need to style this part. For that, we are going to make use of the style sheet. So go to the style.css. I'm just going to use the universal selector. I wanted to remove the basic margin and padding. Box sizing would be border box. Now I'm going to select my body section. So I wanted to apply some background color. So the background color is this. Let me go there and refresh. I'm sure that now you can able to see a different background color, right? So now let's work on this input box together with the buttons. So for that, I'm going to select the container class. Remember, the class name has to be same name as this. Just for the sake of having the same name, I have copied the class name. I'll paste them here. Let me set some width and height. So width of the container would be 250 pixel, and then the height would be, let's say, 400 pixel. And then I wanted to set the margin. Top and bottom would be 90 pixel, left and right would be auto. Let me save, go there and refresh. Now you can able to see these things have come to the center of the page. Now let me target the other class here, name called box. So let me go there, box. So inside this box class, I wanted to set the width again. Let's say this is 200 pixel, and then I wanted to set the margin. So the margin top and bottom would be 20 pixel, and then left and right I would set it to auto. Let me save, go there and refresh to see the changes. I'm sure that now we can able to see there is some bit of movement. After that, I wanted to go to my HTML document. I wanted to select this input box, right? This input box has an ID name called display. Let me copy because I wanted to style this particular input box that I have them here. So for that, I'm going to use the hash because display is an name of the ID. Inside, I wanted to remove the border, so I'm going to set it to none. And then I wanted to remove the outline as well, so it is also going to be none. Then from there I wanted to set the color. Let's have the color name as black. And then I want to align this 0 towards the right side, isn't it so? So the text align would be right, so that the 0 would go to the right side. After that, I just wanted to set some font weight, let's say 600. And then I wanted to set the padding, let's say 15 pixel. And then I want to set the margin. So the margin top would be 30 pixel, right side would be 0, bottom would be 18 pixel, and then the left side would be 0. After that, let me just set the background as transparent so that we can able to see the background. So let me go there and refresh. Because it's transparent, we are unable to see the box here. So if I comment this background as transparent, I'm sure that now you can able to see the box there, right? So just because I set it to transparent, you are unable to see it. So okay, now let me just leave it like that. Then I will show you why I've set it to transparent. Now I need to add some shadows like this. For that, I'm going to make use of the box shadow property. So let me use box shadow. So now I have used the box shadow property with these values. So let me go there and refresh to see the shadow thing. I'm sure that now you can able to see the shadow, right? Just because of this shadow, I'm going to enable this background to transparent so that you will not see that shadow inside the box. So let me go there and refresh. The shadow has gone, but what's the problem there? So let me save there. We go there and refresh. I think okay. As we work on the other parts, we will work on that part as well. After the input box, we need to style the buttons, isn't it so? So for the button, let me just create a class name called button for all of these buttons. So what I'm going to do, so for all this button, I'm going to create a class. I'm going to call them btn. Let me copy and paste. Now I'm going to target this btn class so that I can style the buttons. The class name is btn.btn. So inside, I wanted to set the margin property, 25 pixel top and 0 pixel right, 0 pixel bottom, and then let's say 5 pixel left. Then from there I wanted to set the width, let's say 42 pixel, and then height also 42 pixel, and then border will be none. I wanted to remove the basic border, and then outline also I wanted to remove it. Then font size, let me set it to 18 pixel. This font size is the text that is going to be placed inside the button, the font size of these numbers. So when I refresh this one, I'm sure that now you can able to see the changes. Now I need to style this one nicely. So for that, I wanted to bring in the aspect of the box shadow. So before that, let me just do this. Font weight, let me set it to bold, and then I want to set the cursor to the pointer, and then border radius, let's set it to 8 pixel, and then background color, let me use the RGB color code. Let me save and refresh so that you will see the changes. I'm sure that now you can able to see the changes, right? So the next thing that we need to do them here is I wanted to add the box shadow property to these buttons. So for that, I'm just going to apply the box shadow property. So let me save and see how does this one would look like. I'm sure that now you can able to see the shadow, right? So what is next? The next thing that we need to do them here is this. There is no outside box shadow. I'm sure that now you can able to see this outside box shadow, that one is missing. So for that outside box shadow, let's go to our container class and then add that box shadow property. So here, let me say box shadow. Let me save and refresh to see whether we can able to get the outside box shadow. I'm sure that now we can able to get it right. So, but if you look at the actual design, there is some border radius here, right? So for that, you go to your actual design. Let's set some border radius. Let's say 14 pixel. Let me save, go there and refresh. Now I'm sure that now you can able to see the curve, right? So now what is remaining? We still need to work on this particular input box. As you can see them here is plain, but here there is some shadow inside. So let me go and check where we went wrong. Yeah, the problem is here instead of 3 values I have passed 4 values. That's the reason why I'm sure that we are getting that error. Go there, refresh now. Now I'm sure that everything is okay, right? So what is next thing? We need to add the color to this clear button, as well as if you look at this one, clear button has got red color. These operators like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division and equal symbol has got a background color as black. So for that, what we can do, go to our HTML document, identify those symbols and give them the class name. I hope it's making sense, right? So for example, let's go to the plus symbol, the first one that we have them here, and give a class name. So the class name for this plus symbol, I would say after this button, let's say give a space. Let's say those are arithmetic operations, right? So ARIBTN, something like this. So what is it used for? For all the arithmetic operators that we have them here. Because we need to set the different color, background color. This one, which other one has a black? Now let's go and target this class name and apply the background color. That's it, simple. So here we are simply going to say the color of the text is going to be white and then the background color would be black. Let me save, go there and refresh. Exactly. Now we need to set the red background for this particular one. So identify this button and give a class name. So go there. Where is the button? C is here. Let's say a class name is clear button, CLRBTN. So I'm going to select that class, CLRBTN. Again, color would be white, background color would be red. Let me save, go there and refresh to check whether everything works. Yeah, everything is perfect, isn't it so? So now what are we remaining with? The design is ready. Now we need to work with the JavaScript so that when I press 7, the 7 should come here into this input box, and when I click plus button, when I click the other value, it should add. When I click multiplication, it should multiply. When I click division, it has to divide two numbers, isn't it so? So for that, we're going to make use of the JavaScript. I'm going to teach you the simplest way how you can make use of the simple JavaScript to make this calculator interactive. Let me teach you. You will be surprised. I'm going to my HTML document. Here in the button, you see first I have 7, isn't it so? But what exactly do you want to do? When you click on this button 7, the 7 should come here, isn't it so? That is exactly you wanted to do. So for that, in the same button, I'm going to use on click. Okay. When I click on this 7, is going to the form name called calculator. The form name here is a calculator, right? Get that name. And then where do you want to display? You wanted to display them in the input box. The input box has got an ID name as display, isn't it so? So go there, after the calculator put dot, you wanted to put them into the input box with an ID name called display. I hope it's making sense. In that display, you wanted to display the value, isn't it so? So I'm going to use dot value. This is an inbuilt JavaScript function. You're going to get the value and then you're going to put that value into that input box, right? So concatenate. So when you wanted to concatenate, you're going to put plus equals. What do you want to concatenate? Simple. You're going to put the value, the number 7 into that text box. Let me just explain you once more. When I click on 7, is going to call that form name called calculator, and then I need to display that 7 into the input box. The input box has got an ID name called display. So calculator dot display dot, then you're going to display what? The value 7 that you pressed, right? So JavaScript has got inbuilt function name called value. So display dot value, it will get the value of the button that you pressed. That value needs to be included into that input box, right? So when you wanted to include something, you need to concatenate. Put plus equals, what you wanted to concatenate? The number 7. So put them in a single quote. I hope it's making sense. Now do the same for the rest of the things. So just copy this one. For this button here, for 8, go there, paste them here. So the only thing that you're going to change them here is an 8. In place of 7, it will be 8. In place of 7, here it would be 9. So here we need to perform the addition operation. So now what are you going to do? Here it's going to be plus. I hope you have already guessed it, right? That's it, simple as that. So here same. Go there, make this one as 4. So this is a subtraction operation. So you're going to concatenate with a subtraction. In case if you have any question, do not hesitate to ask me through the comment section. Now here is the difference. This one is a multiplication, right? So make sure to put the asterisk symbol here. This asterisk will perform the multiplication. So be careful on that symbol here. So clear button. You wanted, when you click the button clear, it has to clear the input field, right? If you don't want to put anything there, just put the empty quotation. Just like that. Do not put any value. In that case, when you click the click button, it will clear the field. That's what it means. Now here, when you click the button 0, it's going to put the 0 there. So the difference between the clear button and the 0 button is clear will clear the field. So as a result, I'm going to pass an empty string. There will be nothing inside. But when you click the 0, yes, it has to display the 0 in that input box. That's the reason why I have passed the value here as 0. Now, what about the equal? So you go there to the design. Why do we use equal? So for example, let me refresh this one. Now when I press 7, yes, 7 is been displayed. Minus is there. 2 is there. What does that mean? This equals. So when I click this equal symbol, I need to evaluate that expression based on the operator. So in that case, when I click equals, I should get the result as 5 for this particular example, isn't it so? So this equal will perform the evaluation operation. So JavaScript has an inbuilt function name called eval that performs the evaluation. So how am I going to make use of that evaluation function here? So here, right here, I'm going to use value, and then I'm going to use here on click. Same, the event name is on click because when I click on that 0, that's when it's going to perform. So what is it going to do? Is going to the calculator again, same, dot display is the name of the ID, dot, yes, of course there will be a value, yes, I need to get the value, equals, I'm going to make use of the JavaScript inbuilt function name called, I'm sure that you can able to see, eval. So this one is an evaluation function. What are you going to evaluate? I'm going to evaluate, same, calculator dot display dot value. So this evaluate function will evaluate. So let me save, let me go there and refresh. So let me say now 7 plus 2. When I press this equals, it will evaluate. That evaluate is an inbuilt JavaScript function which helps us to evaluate an expression. Now you can able to see the answer. So what is remaining now? We just have to work on this division part, right? Other buttons, everything else is already been worked. I'm sure that for this one you already know. Same procedure. So here instead of 7, you're just going to use the division operation. That's it. Save, go there and refresh. Perform any operation that you want. Let's say 2 plus 3 equals to 5 minus 1 will be So okay, it's 51 minus 1 will become 50 times 2 will become 100 divided by 2 will become 50. If you want to say 0, 0 will be added. If you wanted to clear everything, press C. So when I press C, it's not clearing. So what's the problem? So the problem here is, here we are going to clear. We are not going to concatenate anything. We are just going to clear. So you have to remove this plus symbol because we are not going to concatenate. Instead, we are going to clear the field. So when you click on that one, the value will be empty. So you are going to use just an empty quotation. Let's go and check whether it is working or not. So 6, when I click clear, yet it has been cleared. Now we have successfully managed to create a simple calculator using simple JavaScript. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe the channel. Thank you so much.